is my voice and video clear enough? Okay. So today we will see directions, level 2 questions. Level 2 means nothing but they are slightly difficult and most frequently asked in both prelims as well as mains. And they will be in the form of paragraph. You can say they are paragraph based direction questions. So we are looking at the first paragraph. If you solve this paragraph, if you look at the questions, instructions, they have given you directions or instructions. So for 1 to 3 means there will be 3 questions. They will give you a paragraph where they will have some points and some distances between the points in various directions. You have to sort out. It's a kind of a puzzle or sitting arrangement, but based on direction. So once you sort out the entire information, you will get a diagram. Based on the diagram and the provided information, you have to answer 3 questions. 3, or at times it will be 2, at times it will be 4, 5, etc. Okay. Now let's see question number 1. Point B is 25 meters south of point A. We don't know exactly where A is or where B is, so let me assume somewhere. So I hope that A is over here, and I am assuming A to be here. And if you read out the question number 1, point B is 25 meters towards south from which point? A. So from point A, if you travel 25 meters towards your south, then you will get another point which is actually B, right? And point C is how many meters? 10 meters. And in which direction? To the east of which point? B. So from B, if you go east, this is the east, and the the distance is actually 10 meters, and you get which point? Point C. Then point B is 30 meters again. 30 meters from which point? Point C, and towards which direction? Towards north. See, this is actually 25, but they are telling you towards north of C, not at 25 but 30. So it is slightly above point A. They are not on straight line but slightly above. And here comes a point D, and this distance is not actually 25 but it is actually 30 meters. Okay. Point E is 7 meters. 7 meters in which direction? East. From which point? From point D. So if you go towards east from point D, this is the point D. And the distance is actually 7. And here comes point E. Then point X. Okay. Point X is 18 meters south of point E. See, this is 30. Right? But from point E towards south, you have to travel only how much? 18 meters. 18 meters, and from there you will get another point which is actually X, right? Then point M is 12 meters south of point X. See, this is 30. They have told already this distance is 18, and from X they are again telling you have to move further south. If you move further south, and that too for how many meters? 12 meters, you will actually encounter a point which is named M. If you observe these two values, 18 and 12, if you add them, 18 and 12 together will give us to how much? 30. So if this is 30 and this 18 plus 12 is also 30, it implies that these 2 points are in straight line. They are in straight line. Okay. And this is 10. This is how much? 7. So if this is 7, then this distance also must be 7. So this is 7 and this is 10, and overall this distance will be actually 10 plus 7, that is 17 meters. This distance will be 17 meters from B to M. From B to M, this is 10 and this is 7. Total will be how much? 17. The final point, point C is 7 meters west of point M. That we know. They need not say that. That's what I have told you. Before reading that point, I have told you that actually C, the distance between C and M is 7 meters, and that is what they have told. Point C is towards west. This is point M. West means towards left. So if you move 7 meters towards left or towards west from M, then you will get point C. That already we know. They need not mention that point. So finally, we got the diagram. If you want for your clarity, I'll draw the diagram once again. Okay. This is point A, and here comes point B, and this distance is actually 25, and slightly above A there is D, and at a distance of some 30 meters, you'll get point C. This distance between B and C is 10. Between C and M is 7. Here comes point M, and there is another point which is E over here. And this distance is how much? 7. From E towards south at a distance of 18 meters, there is another point which is X, and from X, if you move further south at a distance of 12 meters, you get point M. This is the final diagram of that particular question, right? Now, look at question number 1. What is question number 1? Point B is in which direction from point D. I already told you, you have to pay attention to the question. They are asking you the location of B from D. So D is actually here. So from D, you have to tell the direction of B, not distance but direction. So from D, if you come this direction, it is south, but B is actually over here. This is west and this is south. If you stay in the middle, or B is actually in the middle, so it becomes what? South west. So answer is second option. So hope you got what I am trying to say. So answer is second option for question number 1. Question number 2. If point W is 3 meters to the north of point A, then what is the distance between points B and W? If point W is 3 meters to the north of point A. So initially in the original information, W is not actually mentioned, but in the question they are mentioning it. If W is at a distance of 3 meters north of point A is actually here. If you move 3 meters from point A, they are telling that you will get W. Okay. Now what is the question? Then what is the distance between points B and W? That is the question. So B is here and W is here. The original distance between A and B is 25 and the distance between A and W is 3. So if you add both of them, that is the distance between B and W. So the distance will be 28 meters. So the distance will be 28 meters, which is at option 1. Yes, we will move to question number 3. What is the distance between points B and M? Distance between points B and M. So I already told you, I have written it here, right? Distance between B and M is 10 plus 7, that is 17, which is at option 4. So that's it. The answer for question number 3 is 17 meters or option number 4. Okay. So hope you got this right. So have you understood? Are there any doubts for you? Shall we proceed further for the next set or next passage? Okay, yeah, fine. I am moving to second paragraph, which again carries three questions. Fourth, fifth, and sixth questions are based on this particular information. See, actually, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you to solve these questions and try to answer them. So I'll wait for 1 to 2 minutes. You try to at least you try to solve the paragraph. You draw a diagram. Try to sort out the entire information and arrive at a diagram from which you can answer all the three questions based on this particular paragraph. Now I will actually solve this question. See, the first point is actually mentioning that point E. Point E is at what distance? 16 meters. And in which direction? South. From which point? Point C. So I am assuming that point C is over here. If you travel south, and that too for how many meters? 16 meters, you will actually arrive at another point, that is capital E. Right? Then they are talking about point F. Point F is at what distance? 4 meters. In which direction? West. From which point? E. So from E, if you want to move towards west, you have to go to the left. So if you go to the left of E and what distance? 4 meters, then you will get another point which is actually named capital F, right? Then point H. Point H is at 5 meter distance and towards the south from point F. So from point F, if you travel 5 meters and that too towards south direction, then you will get another point, that is point H. So from F towards south at a distance of 5 meters, you will have another point, that is point H. Okay. Then point J. Point J is at a distance of 12 meters towards the direction of east, and from that is from point H. So from point H, if you travel 12 meters towards east or towards right, then you will get point J. So H is actually here, right? From H you have to go for 12 meters. So if you look at this distance, actually it is 4. You have to move further for 8 meters. Then only it becomes 12, right? So from H, if you move for 12 meters, from H if you move for 12 meters, you will have another point over here, which is named J. Point J. Then point Y. Point Y is to the east of point F. If you properly observe the question, they have not mentioned any kind of distance over here. Point Y is towards the east of point F. That is the only thing they have mentioned. If you observe properly, point F is over here. From F, if you want to move east, you have to go this way. And they have very clearly mentioned point Y is to the east of point F. So point Y is to the east of point F means point Y can be here, or if you travel further east, point Y can be here. If you travel further east, point Y can be here. The distance can be 4, the distance can be 10, the distance can be 15, whatever it may be. Because they have not mentioned it clearly, that is why I am not actually writing point F. But point F has to be somewhere over here, that is towards the east of point F. Sorry, point Y, not point F. From point F, Y has to be towards the east direction. As they have not mentioned particular distance, we are not going to write point Y on the in the diagram actually. Okay. Now they are indirectly communicating you the distance of Y. Now, if you observe the question, a person walks for how many meters? 15 meters. From which point? Point Y. And in which direction? West. Then he reaches point Z. Now also there is another new point. If he starts from Y and if he move towards west, that is towards left, somewhere after traveling how much? 15 meters, he'll get another point which is Z. And Z is also not in the diagram. So I cannot assume where Z is. Z can be here, or Z can be somewhere over here, or Z can be somewhere over here. So that's why, due to lack of proper or appropriate information, I am neither placing Y or nor Z in the diagram. I will read it further. Okay, point Z. Then point Z, comma, takes a left turn and reaches point J. So point J is where? Point J is here. Let us suppose that a person is somewhere point Y, I am assuming point Y to be here. They have very clearly mentioned that a person starts from point Y and he will travel towards the direction of west, or he travels in the west direction, and that too for how many meters? 15 meters. After traveling for 15 meters, he is actually moving in this direction, right? If you go upwards, that becomes right. If you come down, that becomes left. They have very clearly mentioned after traveling for 15 meters, he will arrive at point Z. And from point Z, he takes a left turn, means he comes towards south and then reaches point J. Now you got the information of or the placement of Z and the placement of Y from a single statement. See, this distance between Z and Y is 15. But what is this distance? 12. So this is 4. And this distance must be, already I have told you, this has to be how much? 8, because together they have to be 12. So the distance between E and Z is 8, the distance between F and E is 4, whereas the distance between F and Z will be 4 plus 8, the total distance will be 12. And this distance between C and E is already given as 16. Okay. So my length is not corresponding because for 16 I have written a short line, for 12 I have written a longer line, but the intention has to be understood. Hope you got the concept how I have placed Z and Y into the diagram. So I am asking you whether you got how I place Z and Y into the diagram. Are you clear enough? If you have any doubt, you can raise your questions through the comments, or else I will proceed to solve the questions. Is the concept clear for everyone? Shall I move forward? Yeah. Now, fine. You understood, right? Now I am moving to the questions. Try to solve question number 4. What is the difference of the distance between point Z, comma J and point Y, comma F? That means you have to first calculate the distance between Z and J, and then you have to calculate the distance between Y and F, and then you have to subtract the least value from the highest value. So first we will actually calculate the distance between Z and J. Here is Z and here is J. You already know this distance is how much? 5. If this is 5, this also will be how much? 5. So the distance between Z and J is actually 5. And now we have to look at points Y, comma F, means Y and F. Where is Y? Y is actually here. And where is F? F is actually here. I already told you this is 4 and this is 8, total 12, and this is how much? 15. So 4 plus 8 plus 15. What is the distance? 15 plus 8, 23, 23 plus 4, 27. So the distance between Y and F is 27. As this is the highest value, you have to subtract 5 from the highest value, 27. So 27 minus 5 will give you a value of how much? 22. So the difference between the distance is 22 meters, which is at option 5. So option 5 is the correct answer. Next, question number 5. If a person walks, see, this is an assumption based question because certain points may not be there, but they are telling you that if a person walks for how much? 20 meters, and in which direction? North. From which point? Z. So, if a person starting from Z walks towards north for 20 meters and then takes a left turn after and then walks again 8 meters, how far will he be from point C? So initially you have to go 20 meters from Z towards north and then take a left turn. You have to walk for another 8 meters after taking a left turn. Finally, you have to tell what is the distance between your final position and point C. Okay. So first of all, you should understand that point Z is here, right? So from point Z, I have to go towards north. It is very clearly mentioned. You have to go towards north, and that too for how much? How much? 20 meters. Then I have to turn left. I have to turn left and walk for how much? 8. See, if you observe the distance between point E and point Z is how much? 8. So if you travel 8 meters, if you will be exactly above point E, and point C is also exactly above point E, and you are also above point E, you will be somewhere over here. You will be traveling 8. So finally you are here. They are asking you what is the distance between C and your final destination. We have gone for how many meters? 20 meters. I have already told you that this distance between C and E is how much? 16 meters. This particular distance is 16 meters and this distance which we have traveled is 20. So, if you want to find out the difference, it is nothing but 20 minus 16, that is exactly 4. Okay, the answer is 4 meters. Option number 4. If you want, you can actually, you would have drawn the diagram. If you draw the diagram, that will be easy. As I'm repeatedly writing on the same letters and same numbers, you might get slightly confused, but if I have already drawn the diagram, then there will be no confusion. Hope you understood what I am trying to say. See, I'll draw here for clarity. Z is here, right? And E is over here. We already know that the distance between Z and E is how much? 18. And C is somewhere over here. And we also know that the distance between C and E is 16 meters. Now they are asking you, you have to go for how much? 20 meters. From Z, you have to go towards north direction and that too for 20 meters. Then you have to take a left turn and go for how much? 8 meters. See, as this is 8 and you are also traveling 8, you will be somewhere exactly above point E. So you have to be here. As C is also in the straight line, your final destination, point C and point E, all of them will form a straight line. Means if you start from here, so from here till point E, the distance will be how much? 20, because this is 20, so this also has to be 20. They are asking you this particular distance, means from your end point to point C. This total is 20, this total is also 20, and this particular distance between C and A is how much? 16. So total is 20, this portion is 16, then the remaining portion, this portion has to be how much? Obviously 4, because 20 minus 16 is 4. That is how you will arrive at the difference, or the distance between your final destination and point C will be 4 meters. So question number 5, option 4 is the correct answer. And last and final question based on this particular paragraph, they're asking you in which direction is point Z. Point Z is in which direction with respect to whom? Point H. So you have to look from point H and tell the direction of point Z. See, I changed the color to make it clear for you. Point H is here and point Z is here. They're asking you from H, what is the direction of Z? So from H, this is the direction. If this is the direction, if you go up, it will be north. If you go towards right, it will be east. But this direction is exactly in the middle. So between north and east, what we call the direction? Northeast. So the correct answer for question number 6 is northeast, which is the option number 2. Yes, option number 2 is the right answer. So we are moving to next paragraph. I will wait for 1 to 2 minutes. You please try to solve this question. Question number 7 to 9. Again, we have 3 questions based on this particular paragraph. You have to read out all the sentences given in the form of a paragraph. You have to create a diagram based on the given information, and from the diagram you have to answer question number 7, 8 and 9. So you can try to solve this particular question. I will be waiting for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay. I hope you can do it. Yes, I think you are trying to solve the question. Don't be silent. You try at least. If you understood, that's fine. You can easily solve these questions. If you don't understand or if you haven't understood the concept, if you have not attended yesterday's class, then definitely it's difficult to solve the questions. If you have attended yesterday's class, then this is nothing. You can easily solve it. I am expecting you to answer all the questions. 7th, 8th, and 9th has to be answered by yourself. Yes. Have you done the question part? Have you done the diagram part? Please respond. If you have done the diagram part, I will move to the questions part. Okay, now you try to tell the answer. I will show you. Definitely, I will draw the diagram and I will show how to answer that particular question. But I am expecting the answers from your side. Can you please tell the answer for question number 7? Those who have solved, those who have actually formed a diagram from the paragraph, can you please tell what is the answer for question number 7? Question number 7 is asking you what is the difference of the distance between point ys and points y comma c. We have solved a very similar question in the previous paragraph as well. So can you please tell what is the difference between the distance between points ys and points yc? First, you need to find the distance between point y comma s, and then you need to find the distance between point y comma c, and then you have to arrive at the difference. Yeah, what is the answer? ಒಬ್ಬರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ 6 meters ಅಂತ. Okay, question number 8. ಇಬ್ರು ಆನ್ಸರ್ 6 ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Okay, fine. Then please answer question number 8 and question number 9 as well. So then I will start solving the question. Yeah, what is the answer for question number 8? In which direction is point T with respect to point P? So when you look from point P, point T is in which direction from point P? That is what the question is demanding. Can you please tell the answer for question number 8? Northwest, okay. Do all of you got the same answer? Is it northwest? Very good. And what is the answer for question number 9? What is the answer for question number 9? Q. Okay. So you have solved all the questions, but once again, for the rest of the students who are not able to solve or who wants clarity, I will solve this question. See, point Q, they are stating that point Q is at a distance of 23 meters and towards the west direction from point P. So I am assuming point P to be here. If I move towards west and that too for how much? 23 meters, I will arrive at point Q, right? Then point S is 14 meters and towards the north from point Q. So if I move north from point Q and that too for how many meters? 14 meters, then I will actually arrive at another point which is named the point S, right? Point T. Point T is just 2 meters away and in west direction from point S. If I move just 2 meters from S and that too for 2 meters and in west direction, we will actually arrive at another point, that is point T. Fine. Next, point R is 5 meters and that too towards south from point T. So from point T, I have to go for how much? 5. If I go for 5 meters, then I will have another point, that is point R. This is actually total 14, but here there is only 5. Then point Z. Point Z is how much? 17 meters. Which direction? East. From which point? R. Where is R? R is here. I have to go how much? 17 meters, and from point we will get point Z. So here is point R. I'll change the color to make it clear for you. So I have to go east. From R, I have to go east, and that too for how much? 17. If you look at the distance, this is 2 and this is 23. So if you start from here And if you are going to come up to point P, total distance is 2 plus 23, total 25. But here it has been very clearly mentioned you have to go only for 17. So from R, you should not reach P, you should be somewhere over here. And this total distance will be how much? 17. Okay, this total distance will be 17. And here comes which point? Point Z. Here is point Z. See, between S and Q, the distance is 14. You should not get confused between 7. 17 is the distance between R and Z, whereas 14 is the distance between S and Q. Okay, fine. Then a person walks how much? 16 meters from where? From point Z, and towards which direction? North. Then he reaches which point? Point C. Okay, first we will stop there and we will try to solve that question. That part of the question. A person walks 16 meters from point Z and towards north. Z is actually here, right? So I change the color further. I have to go how much? 16. See, Z is here. So from Z I have to go for 16 meters. After going for 16 meters, sorry, 16 meters from point Z towards north reaches point C. Here comes another point, point C. See, this is actually 5 only. From R to T, the distance is just 5. But here I have to go 16. Means T and this particular point C are not in straight line. So there is actually a distance of 11 meters between T and C. Okay, because total is 16 here, there it is only 5. So there is a distance of 11 meters. So after going for 16 meters, it reaches point Z. From C, you have to take which turn? Left turn. And walks a certain, they have not mentioned the distance, but certain distance to reach point Y. So from C, he has to take a left turn. So from C, he has to take a left turn. But you don't know exactly he has traveled for 10 meters or 5 meters or 23 meters or 25 meters, you don't know. But he has gone for left, he has gone towards left or towards west and he has stopped somewhere. There comes a point Y. And it has been very clearly mentioned. Point Y is in which direction? North. Of which point? Q. Where is Q? Q is here. So he has traveled certain distance where he reaches a point Y and Y is exactly in straight line with Q or Y is exactly north of point Q. So to make it clear, I am going to draw the diagram once again, otherwise you will get confused. Point T is here, okay? And point R is here. This particular distance is just 5 meters, okay? And from R, I have to go for 17, right? And from R, I have to go for 17 meters where I will arrive at the point Z. Then T and S are at a distance of just 2 meters. T and S, they are at a distance of 2 meters. And from S, if you come south, for how much? If you come south for 14, this distance is 14 meters. You will actually arrive at point Q. You will actually arrive at point Q. Then, and from Q, if you travel towards east, and that too for how much? 23 meters, you will arrive at a new point which is point P. Got it? If you see, if I draw a straight line, this will be 2 because this value is 2, hence this value also has to be 2. So this total distance will be 25. 2 plus 23 will be 25. And from Z I have to go for how much? 16 meters. So this is actually 5. 16 means it will be 5 plus 11. So if I move towards north from Z and that too for 16 meters, there comes another point which is named C. Then from C I have to take left turn, means I have to move towards west direction. And there I reaches another point which is named point Y. If you actually read out the given information, point Q and point Y are in straight line, or point Y is exactly towards north of Q. Means Y, S, Q. All three of them are in straight line. Okay. How much is this? 16. How much is this? 5. This distance between R and Y is equal to this distance, right? If this is 16, then this also has to be 16 in total. but we know only one portion, 5. So how much should be added to 5 to make it 16? 11. So we will arrive at the distance between y and s, which is actually 11. So from here only we will solve question number 1. Now I am going to solve question number 1 as question number 7. See, what is the difference between the distance of point ys and the distance between point yc? Ys I have just told you, the last point that I have communicated to you is the distance between y and s is 11. The distance between y and c. See, y is here and c is here. You have to find the distance. See, the distance between q and p is same as the distance between y and c. Is it right or no? Distance between y and c, because q and y are in straight line, right? Hence, whether p and c are in straight line, no, p and c are not in straight line, because this distance between r and z is how much? 17. Okay, to make it clear, I will draw straight lines over here. See, r is here and z is here. If you look at this particular distance, it is actually 17. Then q is not in straight line. Q is actually somewhere over here. Q is somewhere over here. And if you go further, P is somewhere over here where the distance is 23. But to find out the distance between Y and C, you have to actually depend on these two particular lines only, right? Then for that, T and S. So above R, there is point T and there is point S, which is the distance is actually 2. If you observe here, S and Q are in straight line. S and Q are in straight line. So if S and Q are in straight line, distance between T and S is 2. Hence the distance between this particular point and Q is also 2. So this is 2 and this is 23, total 25. That is what I have said. So here total distance is 17. If this is 2 and the total distance is 17, this particular part means from this point to point Z, it has to be 17 minus 2. So this distance is how much? 15. So what I am trying to communicate is this point which I am highlighting from here to point Z, distance will be 15. Why? Because this particular distance is 2, right? If this is 15, this also has to be 15 because all of them are in straight line only. So the distance between Y and C is how much? 15. So this is actually how much I have written somewhere? 11. And this is actually 15. And what is the difference? It is 4. So the distance again is 4 meters. That is option number 3. So hope you understood what I am trying to communicate. If you don't understand, you get back, you draw your own diagrams and see how, look out for the logic that I am trying to explain. What is the distance of 2 meters? If you draw proper diagrams, then you will easily get the logic that I am trying to teach you. Question number 8. In which direction is point T with respect to point P? So from P, you have to tell the direction of T. See, point P is here, whereas point T is here. If you go that way, it is north. If you come this way, it is west. It is actually in the middle between north and west. What is the answer? North, west. Option number 4. Question number 9. If a person walks towards south from point Y, so from Y he has to go towards south. Which of the following points would he reach first? Where is Y? Y is here. Y is here. He has to travel south from Y. So if he travels south from Y, initially he reaches S and then he will reach Q. But they're asking you which is the first point. The first point will be yes. Okay. So it's option number 5. S is the right answer. Then if you go further, you will reach Q. But they're asking you about the first point that you will encounter in the path. First point that you will be touching will be yes and then followed by Q. So the answer for question number 9 is not Q, it is actually yes. So have you understood why I actually told yes instead of Q? You all of you have written Q as the answer for question number 9, but actually the correct answer is yes and not Q. Okay. So have you got the logic why I have told yes instead of Q? Harshita ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಬ್ಬರೇ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು. ಮೂರು ಜನ ಹರ್ಷಿತಾ ಅದೇ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಬ್ಬರು. So have you got the logic why the correct answer is yes rather than Q? Because they are asking about the first point. Of course, Q is also towards the south of Y only, but it is second point from Y. If you start from Y, you will first reach S and then you will go for Q. So as they are asking the first point, I am telling you the correct answer is yes and not Q. Yeah. Can you please solve this? It's much simpler. Actually, the previous set was difficult than this. You can solve it just in 1 minute. Can you please try to solve this question and tell the answers for question number 10, 11 and 12 please? Try to be fast enough. Yeah, I will be waiting for your answers. Please try to make out a diagram from the given information and give the answers for question number 10, 11 and 12. So have you completed the diagram for this paragraph? Have you drawn the diagram for this particular information? If yes, then we will move on to answering the questions. Okay, now you can answer question number 10. If L is 8 meters east of R and M is 7 meters south of L, then what is the distance between M and Q? That is the question. Can you please tell the correct answer? If L is 8 meters east of R and M is 7 meters south of L, then what is the distance between M and Q? What is the correct answer for this question? Answer for question number 10. And answer for question number 11. In which direction is N with respect to Q? Whether it is northwest or west, east or northeast, southwest, etc. And question number 12, Hitin walks 2 meters north from point P. He then takes a right turn and walks for 8 meters. After all this, what will be the distance between him and point Q? Okay, I'm going to solve the question. See, point S is 11 meters east of N. So I am assuming N to be here. If I go for how much? For 11 meters and that too in the direction of east, I will arrive at another point S. N is, for second statement, N is 8 meters north of P. We don't know where is yeah, n is already given. So n is 8 meters north of p, so p will be somewhere over here, and at a distance of 8 meters towards north, n will be there. So this is how n has to be, sorry, p has to be represented. And p is at a distance of how much? 4 meters. From which point? O. And in which direction? West. So there is a point named O, and from O you have to move west and at a distance of 4 meters to reach point P. So O will be somewhere over here, and if you move towards west for how much? 4 meters, then you will get point P. So that is where we have to place O. And point O. Point O is the midpoint. Exactly in the middle. Okay. Exactly in the middle for which 2 points? P and R. P and R. Point O is the midpoint. If this is 4, then the other part also will be 4. And here comes what? Point R. So 4 plus 4, 8, and O will be the midpoint. Then, such that POR form a straight line, that we know. POR form a straight line that we have already written. And Q is how much? 13 meters. From where? R. Q is 13 meters south. So if you move further south, and that too for how much? 13 meters, you will get another point named Q. Okay. See, if this total distance is 11, this is 4 plus 4, 8. So, if I want to make a straight line with S to this particular point, then this remaining distance has to be 3. 4 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 3, 11. Because this total distance is 11. Okay. But there is no point, I am just trying to indicate the concept, how you have to look at the question. Okay. There is further information provided in question number 10. See, question number 10. L. In the actual information, L is not given, but in this particular question only L is being provided. L is at 8 meter distance. What direction? East of R. So we know already R. R is here. So from R, if you move how much? 8 meters, you will get a point named L. East. So if I move, this is already 3. I have to go further 5, and total will be 8. 3 plus 5, 8. Here comes another point. What is that point? L. And point M, and point M is how much? 7 meters. From where? L. And towards which direction? South. L is here. They are clearly stating it is 7 meters. This is how much? 13. But you have to go only for 7. If you go for 7, there you will get another point which is M. So from L, if you go south for 7 meters, you will get M. This total distance is 13. This is 7. And if you want to make a straight line, here there will be another point. If you want to make these 2 points to be in straight line, this particular distance has to be 6, because 7 plus 6 gives rise to 13. That is equal to the distance between R and Q. Now the question is, then what is the distance between M and Q? That is the question. See, M is actually here, whereas Q is actually here. I already told you yesterday. Yesterday I have told you a concept. In the last question, we have talked about a theorem which is known as Pythagorean theorem, where I have told you the formula: hypotenuse whole square is equal to opposite side plus adjacent side whole square, opposite side whole square plus adjacent side whole square, and it's actually a formula applied for right angle triangle. If you look at that points Q, M, and there is an unknown point over here, they're asking you what is this particular distance. It is nothing but what? Hypotenuse. It is nothing but hypotenuse. Okay, you have to find out this distance and this distance. You already know this particular distance. How much is this? It is equal to this distance, right? 8. If that is 8, this also will be 8. So this is 8. And I have already told you this has to be equal to 6, and that is the question is also based on that. This is actually 6, right? We are going to find out this particular distance. We have already told you yesterday hypotenuse whole square is equal to opposite side whole square plus adjacent side whole square. So I have to find out hypotenuse. I know the value of adjacent side, which is actually 6, and opposite side is 6 and adjacent side is 8. 6 square how much? 36. 8 square 64. If you add, it becomes 100. But 100 is not the distance. If hypotenuse whole square is equal to 100, if I want to find hypotenuse, then square will go to the right side. When square goes to the right side, it becomes square root. Square root of 100 is not 100, it's actually how much? 10. So the correct answer or the correct distance between Q and M is 10 meters. Okay. Question number 2. And it is based on which concept? It is based on a mathematical theorem known as Pythagorean theorem, which states that the largest side, that is hypotenuse, when whole squared, will be equal to the sum of the distances of opposite side whole square plus adjacent side whole square. Question number 11. In which direction is n with respect to q? Where is q? Q is here. And from q you have to talk about n. See, they are very clearly mentioned in which direction is n with respect to q means from q. So from q, n is in which direction? Where is n actually? N is over here, top. So q is over here. So q is actually here and n is somewhere over here. This is actually north and this is actually west. If it is in between, what we call it? The direction is known as northwest, which is at option number 1. Got it? And last question finally, Hithane. Hithane walks 2 meters north from point P. We already know where is actually point P. Point P is here. He walks only 2 meters and that too towards north. So this is actually 8, but he won't go for 8. He go only up to this point and this point is actually 2. Fine. Then what happens? Then takes a right turn and walks for how much? 8 meters. How far will he be from point Q? So once he reaches this particular point, I will change the color to make you understand. He will be here somewhere. I'll take black. So he'll be here after walking for 2. So from P, he moves to north and just for 2 meters. So he'll be here and then takes a right turn. So you are going north. If you take right turn, you will be moving towards east. It takes right turn and walks for how much? 8. Walks for how much? 8. If you observe this is 4 plus 4. That is equal to 8. So currently he is at this point, which is exactly above R. So between R and this final point, the distance will be 2 because this is 2, hence this also has to be 2. But they are asking you what will be the distance between Q and final destination. This is the final destination. Up to R, already there is a distance of 2. And between R and Q, there is again a distance of 13. So for 13, you have to add how much? 2. Because there is an additional distance between R and the final point. So finally, the total distance will be 13 plus 2, which is nothing but how much? 15. So the distance between the person hitting and Q will be actually 15 meters, which is at option 5. Got it? Please mention in the comments whether this is clear for all of you. Is this these three questions clear? Have you understood how I solved them? The logic behind the solution? If yes, please mention in the comments. Yeah. Fine. Now I'm moving to last set, which is 13, 14, and 15, and this is the last set for today. We will solve this and we will stop here. So I will straight away start solving the question. R is 15 meters west of Q. I assume Q to be here. And if I go some 15 meters towards the west, then I get another point which is actually R. Then point J is 6 meters from where? Q. And that is towards north. So if I move 6 meters towards north of Q, I get another point which is actually J. And point W. Point W is 2 meters west of whom? J. So just 2 meters, okay? From J, if you move just 2 meters, 2 meters, you will get another point which is actually W. See, this is actually 15 and this is just 2. So the rest of the distance, if you want to form a straight line with respect to R, then this rest of distance will be equal to how much? 13. Then L. L is 10 meters that to towards south from which point? W. W is here. 10 meters. You have to go for how much? 10. If you go for 10 meters, you will get another point which is L. See, this value is how much? 6. So from W till this point, which I'm highlighting. I'll change the color to make it clear. W is here, and I have to move towards towards south, right? To reach point L. This value is 6, hence this value also will be 6. But the total value is how much? 10. Hence this portion from this particular point to L, the remaining portion has to be how much? 4. That is why I am writing here 4. If you add this plus 6 and 4, that will be obviously 10 meters, which is the distance between L and W. Then finally the last point K. K is 6 meters. Which direction? West. From where? L. 6 meters from L, right? So from L, if I just go for 6 meters, I'll get another point which is named K. See, this particular distance is actually how much? 13, as I have written already, right? So this total distance means from R, if you want to make a straight line with respect to K, then this distance and this distance together has to be obviously 13. But this is given as 6, hence this particular distance has to be 7. This is how much? 4. Hence this distance between the final endpoint and R will also be how much? 4. This is how much? 6. Hence this is also how much? 6. Okay. So we will move to solving the questions. 13th question, if F is 4 meters to the south of R and if F is 4 meters south of R. I'll change the color to better make you understand. From R, if you go 4 meters south, you will get point F. I have already written that. R is here, and what I have written here? 4. If I go 4 meters south, what I'll get? I'll get another point, which is given as F. So here the point is F. So now the distance between F and K is how much? I have already written it. 7. Okay. Then point B is here. Point B is 2 meters east of point K. Where is K? K is here. If you move towards east, and that too for how much? Just 2 meters, you will get another point B. So here somewhere in the middle, there is another point. I am just writing it over here to make it clear. Here there is a point B. This total distance is how much? 6. If this is 2, and here what I have highlighted, that is point B, and L is over here, this particular distance has to be how much? 4. K is over here, right? If I move 2 meters, I get another point B. I already know that between K and L, the distance was how much? 6 meters. If the distance between K and V is 2, then obviously the distance between V and L has to be how much? 4. Okay. Now question is, how far is point F from point B? Point F from point B. Where is point F? Point F is here and point B is somewhere over here. If I extend this diagram, I already know that F is here and the distance between K and F is 7, already written over here, right? So this is 7 and B is over here, and what is this particular distance? 2. So 7 plus 2. Between F and B, there is a distance of 7 plus 2 meters, which is equal to how much? 9 meters. So the correct answer for this question is 9 meters, which is at option number 4. Okay, let's go to question number 14. Kabir. Kabir walks how many? 10 meters. Towards which direction? South. From where? Point J. Then takes a right turn, walks for how much? 3. Okay. Kabir starts from point J. He goes for 10 meters, then takes a right turn and walks for 3. So let's see how to apply this question. First, look at point J. Point J is here. Initially, we have written distance between J and W is 2. I'll rub this particular diagram so that it would be clear. If you want, I can write it again. So W is here and J is here and the distance is 2. Now what? We have to go for 10 meters. 10 meters that too towards south. And then take a right turn and then walk for 3. See, from J I have to go down. How much? 10 meters. As I am moving this way, if I want to move right, then I have to turn this side. I will move right and I will travel for 3. Okay, so this is the diagram and let's see what they are asking. They are asking you how far will he be from point K. Okay, first look at 10. So from J, if you come 6 meters, you will reach point Q. If you reach another 4, this is 4 and this is also 4. here comes point L. So he'll be here. From J, if he comes here, he'll be somewhere over here. And he is just moving 3 meters. If you see this diagram, it is 6 meters between K and L. And L is actually at a distance of how much? 2 meters. So this particular distance between L and where the point I have marked after walking for 10 meters will be 2. I'll strike this out so that, so 2. So at a distance of 2 meters, I'll change the color as well. This is the point that I reach after walking for 10 meters from J. Then if I go 2 meters towards left, towards my right or towards west, I will reach another point over here which is already given, that is L. So L is here. And from L, if I go further, from much 6 meters, so from here to here, which is point K, the distance is 6 meters. But I have not stopped after walking for 2, but I have stopped after walking for 3. So my final point is here, not here. This total is how much? 6 meters. But I have covered one extra meter. 2 plus 1 becomes 3. So this particular extra distance that I walked from L towards K is 1 meter. Between K and L, the distance is 6, whereas I have not stopped at L, but I have walked for one more additional meter. So I have to subtract this 1 from 6. 6 minus 1 will be 5. So I am somewhere over here. They are asking you what is the distance between K and uh, that last point where I have traveled. So the distance is 6 minus 1 is actually 5. So my final end point will be at a distance of 5 meters from point K. So hope you understood. If you haven't, you have to draw the diagram properly and check back. In which direction is R with respect to J? R with respect to J. R is here. Okay, R is here. Where is J? J is here. You have to tell the direction of R from J. So from J, if I draw a line, it will be like this direction. So if you go up, it is north. If you go this direction, it is west. It's actually in the middle. Sorry. I'm actually communicating you the wrong message. J is here and R is here. You have to come down. You should not go up, right? If you come down, it is south. If you go that direction, it is west. But R is actually in the middle. Hence, it is between south and west. Hence, the correct answer is what? South, west. South to west is the correct answer, which is at option 5. So that's it for today. We have solved 15 questions of different types. These are paragraph based questions, and generally they'll ask such kind of questions mostly in prelims, majority of the times. Majority of the times it will be in prelims. Very rarely it will be in mains as well, but slightly difficult. But mostly it will be asked in prelims exam only. So hope you understood what I have taught you, all the 15 questions. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Have you understood, all of you? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good night and have a great day.